San Antonio, so where we are currently. And it was a little tough because I had to deal with hardship with my mom and dad because they were always fighting with each other, and then it led to eventually my father trying to steal me and taking me to Mexico, and my mother defending me and then keeping me here, and then that's when we finally kicked out my father. And from then on, it was just like separation between them. I only got to see him on Sundays, and then it got to the point to where, like in high school, finally, he went to prison for the 13th time. I didn't know about this till a year later, for the 13th time for DWI, and after that, he just went to prison, and then I only got to see him once, and after that factor, he got deported when Trump went to presidency.
Okay.
So now he is currently in Mexico, and it's just me and my mother at home, and I just take care of her, and that's basically all I do, because like I just have to continue with my education so I can provide for her and provide for the family, because I am the first seed from our roots
Okay.
that is going to college.
Okay. Okay. That's powerful there. That's powerful. Do you have any brothers and sisters? Anything like that?
Yes, I have two brothers and one sister. They're all in their mid 40s.
Okay.
As you can see, I'm not 40 at all. They were born in 2 decades like before me.
Okay. Okay. They graduate high school?
They at least graduated high school, yes.
Okay. Okay. How was the neighborhood around?
Pretty bad, and it still is bad. Nothing has changed. It's to the point to where you go to sleep and you hear like 3 gunshots, and that's okay, that's fine, because that's a normal thing.
All right, we went over education a little bit as far as your upbringing. What about some influences and some role models that you may have had when you were younger?
My role models that I've had were actually, none of them were real. Most of them were fictional.
Okay.
I based my life off of movies or games or something of the sort, because I had no really good role models when I was growing up, because everyone around me was either negative or saw the world in a negative manner. So I looked and sought for people that were optimistic, or some people that saw the world to what it could be, which were mainly in fictional characters.
Okay. Okay. Like who?
Hmm. One per se. That's actually a very interesting question. I actually am not ready for that one. That was the one question I wasn't ready for. I guess I could give you one for right now, a recent one. If you've seen the movie Baby Driver, the guy that is Baby Driver, he was brought up like kind of like in a bad sort of way, and then all he really wanted was just to be him in the open road. That was his dream. That was his goal. Nothing else, just that. Something simple. I've always wanted to sought that, because I've always grew up in I grew up in a bad neighborhood, and I've always been like looked down upon because of that. But then in school, I've been exceeding, so those things don't match. So then I wanted to just be like simple. Like all I really wanted to do was like be like a picket fence family. Like it's just like a simple house with a wife, kids, and then that's it.
Okay. It's crazy. We got the outlet here. We got the outlet. Hopefully, we're going to make sure we do everything in power to make sure we get you where you need to be. What do you like to do? Give me some of the things you like to do, or just what's important to you.
What I like to do for, say, I guess hobbies is to go work out, I guess play games, go out with friends, so associate with other people whenever I can, whenever I have time. And then what's important to me is studying and things of those sorts, because without that I can't really like participate in my classes, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. I got you. Looking at your peers in your family, how do you think they look at you? How would they describe you?
They would all describe me as determined, relentless, selfless, and a little bit of optimism.
Okay. All
For
good qualities there. Now, the story in particular that you want to tell, what drives you to tell the story?
what drives me, everyone has a story. Everyone has to say something because society keeps things dormant and not willing to let things come out because of fear.
That's very true. That's very true. What is the story in particular? Just keep in mind the 5 W's: who, what, when, where.
Who, what, when, where, why, and how, of course. Well, who it revolves around is me and my mother and my father. So the first three. And then where, San Antonio. When, it happened when I was younger, about elementary. And where, when, where, why. And why did it happen? Well, that's actually something I don't even know, and I still don't even know why.
Okay. What was the? Do you mind sharing what the story was that you want to tell?
Of course.
Yes, sir. What is the story?
It's a story of life, how it was after my mother kicked out my father,
Okay.
and how everything started to like make a little more sense.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, what happened was the night that my father got kicked out, he tried very hard to like keep within the family, but my mother didn't want that because she didn't want what he did to my brothers and sister to happen to me. And I didn't know about this till when he finally left, and I only got to see him on Sundays.
Okay.
So when we got to that point, she finally discussed to me that he was a bad father and that he always like beat them and like everything of the sort, and he was getting to the point of that with me as well. And she didn't want that, so I was like, well, okay, that's understandable. But little old me still didn't believe her because like, well, I like to like put my life like within like movies, so like, oh no, everyone's like happy.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case.
Okay.
So as time went on, she told me like little bits and pieces of what he really was. So I found out what my father really was, a father that always drank, always harassed his wife and his kids, and someone that associated with like gangs and things of the sort, especially in Mexico with the cartel.
Okay.
And
What happened afterwards? Was it left unresolved?
yeah, still left unresolved. I haven't seen my father in now about to be 6 years,
Okay.
and now he still he still thinks that I have no idea what he really has been has really done or been through in his life, but I do now. So he still has yet to know that because we call every Sunday, but I don't tell him about the things that he's done.
Okay. Have you told others about this?
Very few, maybe I think four people.
How did the people around you, how did this impact them?
It impacted them with the sense of either they kind of understood what I meant because they've been through the hardships as well, or they're just in shock because they didn't even know that a guy like me was dealing with that, because everyone kind of like looks at me and just assumes that I'm happy or something of the sort and I don't have baggage. But everyone truly does have baggage. They just tend to hold it back.
Do you have a specific moment in mind where someone looked down on you in a sense, where they kind of disregarded what you may have been dealing with behind closed doors?
Yes, that usually occurred in school
Okay.
with my teachers or classmates as well. They never really understood what I was going through.
Okay.
Like, for say, I was having a bad day because something happened at home, and I was just trying to just be myself, and they always asked, why aren't you yourself? What are you doing? Why are you falling back in work? And they always said why, but they never asked how, like what's going on, like how do you feel?
Okay.
They only asked for things in return when they were needed, which is understandable. That's how life works. But some people have to understand that sometimes life happens.
Do you feel that racism in some way plays a part in that story?
In a sense, I don't think so, because it deals with both races. Because I went to the schools where like it was basically ethnicity was Mexican,
Okay.
and then with my family is just Mexican as well.
Okay. And how did this impact you? Like physically, emotionally?
Emotionally, it kind of drove me to want to pursue better in school because I strive to like not be like my father. I strive to not be like my brothers and my sister, and I strive not to be like my mother. I strive to be my own person and then provide for them, for my family when I can. When I graduate, even with just an associate, I could do much more than what my family already has.
Do you, how did you see others after this experiment, after this experience?
I never,
View people differently?
yes, I never really understood like how people acted until then, because then I kind of sought it out to not trust anyone and to only see people as just average and then not to judge them until I got to really know them. Not like within the first month, I mean like a year or so, because then true colors do come out.
Gotcha. Does this change how you deal with them?
With people,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it still does. I still deal with people, like I show them me, but I don't give them the full, like for say personality wise me, because I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know their intentions. I don't know anything of the sort. I won't know that till later.
Have you told important people in your life who may not have been in that situation about the experience?
I
Maybe
have.
grandpa or anyone that's important to you who wasn't necessarily in those shoes.
Mm.
Have you told them about it?
The only person, the only people I've ever told about this, besides like maybe like a few friends, but those don't really count. It's just like my family members to see if like they was if it's true. Most of them denied, probably out of fear. But the only person that did tell me that it was true was my mother, because she was the one that dealt with it. Everyone else just said like just blew it off, as if it was nothing.
How do you feel about, how do you feel now telling the story right now?
I mean, a little better. People need to know that things like this happen in life, and that even if it does happen, you just got to deal with the hardship, face some adversity, because you can't let like something negative impact your whole life, because life is 10% what happens and 90% how you deal with it.
Did you ever seek any type of compensate? What type of personal satisfaction were you looking for after that? Or did you seek any personal satisfaction?
I did. It was mainly towards schooling and to become better within my personality, well, within my person, to make myself better, to make myself like more like resilient and like not get, I guess, what people say dirty money from what my father was getting. I'd rather get clean money that is, you know, from a hardworking man that just works like an 8 to 5 job.
Did anything stop you along that journey? Were there any obstacles
Any obstacles?
as far as when you're trying to, the personal satisfaction you were seeking? What stopped you, if anything?
Negative people, people thinking that I'm not going to be able to make it, people just saying that I'm dumb for even wanting to try, and negative people that just think that they're better and that there's no room for me in that category.
Are there any societal changes that need to be made? Do you think? Like, do you feel like anything out in society needs to change for the better, for the worse?
Yes, I believe that things need to be brought up, not kept dormant. Because if they're kept dormant, nothing can change.
Are you still pursuing that personal satisfaction today?
Yes, I'm currently enrolled in college, and I'm happy to say that I'm trying to make it better in my life and for my family.
Anything you want to elaborate on that as far as pursuing that?
Right now, I'm just trying to attempt to pass my classes, especially my A&P class.
I hear you. Is there anything you would have done differently?
mm, Not put so much faith within people that are higher up than me, like for say my family, and just listening to them. Probably listen to myself more, like I do now.
What advice would you give to someone who may have gone through the same situation as you, how they should go about pursuing that personal satisfaction?
I'll give them the quote: "Don't ever judge a book by its cover," and keep your priorities straight, and just like focus on yours. Don't focus on someone else's.
I know you're young. I know you're young, but do you feel there's any difference as far as how our generation views different from the generations before us?
Actually, I have an input on that because my brothers and sisters. It has gotten better, like saying and speaking up, because back then nothing really happened because no one ever spoke up. There was only very few, and whenever they did, they were considered gangsters or they were considered rebellious or something basically negative. They got a negative title on them. And now, if you want to change something, you're like an organization. You're something more positive. Because back then, people that wanted to change the world were just viewed as negative or just looked down upon because no one really believed in them. But when they did, all of a sudden, everyone like believed in them.
Okay. Are you hopeful for the future, to say?
Yes.
What makes you hopeful?
The path that I'm going on right now, because if I keep on going on this path, I will soon find a job. I will soon make my life how I want it to be. I will shape my world.
Are you hopeful for the rest of society?
I am. If things keep on path and like change for the better, then I believe that society will come back and come to a more cleaner world than what it kind of is now, with all the violence and all the negativity and the politics that are lying.
Do you have a faith background? What is your faith background?
My faith, like religious wise,
Yeah.
I am actually atheist now.
Okay. Okay. How does it relate to your experience?
Atheist? Well, when I was younger, I was always forced to believe in a religion. I was always forced to do this. I was always forced to believe in something, even if I didn't even know what it was. And that kind of made me want to say, I'd rather not. I'd rather believe in my own faith. And since I'm a man of science, I believe in science. Sure, there is some evidence of like religion parting in with everything. So I can't fully say like, no, I don't believe in that, because like there are some things that actually do happen I have no answer to.
Does that tradition per se address race in itself as a construct?
Race in a construct.
How did you feel that maybe atheism, the traditions of atheism, address race?
I can honestly say that atheists are more or less diverse. And if you really want to like look at other religions, they're sought to just like be categorized like Buddhism. They're like Buddhists and something of the sort. And like Christianity, well, Christianity is like very diverse. But if you really want to look at it, I believe that mostly whites are part of it. I believe in Texas. I want to say, but don't quote me on that.
Do you feel atheism is less tied down to the idea of race?
The idea of it? Yes, I believe that. I believe that atheism is like for everyone. If you do believe in it, then like it's for like everyone. But I know they say that for like a bunch of religions, but there's a lot of religions that kind of like diss other races, which is kind of something I've always thought like, why? If we're all like the same, then why are we doing this? So then I kind of thought like atheism is like, I guess in a way a little better because it's like more positive, even if like some people like drive it to like, no, religion's fake or whatever. Like I don't really care about that. If you believe in something, then you believe in something. If you don't, then you don't. That's what I believe in, because I've always saw that like people force religion into other people too, other ethnic groups, and something of the sort. And that's something I never really wanted to be part of.
Okay.
That's why I guess I'm part of this, if in a way.
Okay, I like that. So, do you believe that they should play a part in addressing racism?
Atheism
Yeah. No, in racism.
and racism in general.
Yeah. Do you think they have like maybe a strong foundation on addressing the situation of racism itself? Or any church, maybe?
Any church?
Just churches in general, you know?
Well, there are many churches that are good, and there are many churches that actually do address that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some churches have like a black father, some churches have an Asian father, and I'm just like, okay, this is actually something cool, because like a traditional church usually would say deny it. Like there is one, I believe, on my street that is like that. It's just white, and then right across from it is a more diverse church. And it's kind of ironic if you really want to think about it, because there are some people that do want to change how society is with religion in this way, because there are some people that are just like, no, whites and whatever. And then there's others that are like, no, more diverse. Even whites are even saying diverse as well. Like there are other like viewpoints, even if different ethnicities.
Okay.
And they're actually using religion to back them up, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the positives I'm talking about, like with religion. Like some people use it for positives, some people use it for negatives.
Okay.
I vote for more for the positives.
Okay. You believe the manner in which they address race? Like me personally, I'm not here to throw my piece in. So what I'm trying to ask is, if they were to address it, what angle what role should they be playing to address it?
Like what kind of way would they want to?
Yeah.
I guess one way, I guess you could say, I guess social media. Social media, so they can get like more out there. And then of course locally, to get more like people involved, to get like a bigger, like more foundation, so they can address it.
Okay.
And I just like leave it like that, because like you can't really start something if there's only one person.